Hey guys, this is Order 42, and I'm Rob, and today I have a very special guest. This is RetroWolf88, and he has been a very, very huge supporter of the Game Chasers movie. He's been helping us promote it on his channel. He's done a lot of interviews from guys from the movie on his channel, but we'll just get into it. Matt, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Just want to say real quick, say hi to some people in chat here. We got, let's see, we got Eagle Ford is here with Vicky too. Bucho, of course, is here. How's it going, sir? It's always good to see you. Albert is here. What is up? It's like, it's just, we got the whole crew here. This is awesome.
Hell yeah.
Now, let me just say this. Before we get started, I just want to mention there is an air show going on right now. So if you happen to hear anything from my end that sounds like crazy planes flying over, you know why. They were pretty loud yesterday. So it is what it is, right? I mean, it's just a thing. So anyway, so let's get going. Matt, how are you doing? And can you explain to my audience who you are and what you do?
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Been editing all day. Last night I filmed an awesome interview, so I'm looking forward to sharing that. But yeah, I mean, by day I'm a married man. I work a normal 9 to 5 weekday job. By night, I run a YouTube channel, right? RetroWolf88. It's a small channel. I'm trying to grow it, and we're growing slowly over time. And it's a gaming channel, but I do a lot of different stuff on the channel. I try to add a lot of variety to the content. So, we've got the Mama Retro show where I sit down with my mom and I have her play a game. Now, at first, when you first hear that, you might think, what the hell? A video of you playing your game with your mom, playing a game with your mom. But when you watch a Mama Retro video, I promise you, you will be hooked because she's very eccentric. She's very animated, and the way she reacts to video games is hilarious. And me and her, our banter back and forth is hilarious. So give it a chance is all I'm going to say. But I also do game room tours on the channel. I do interviews with other collectors. I review games. I talk about retro games, hidden gems, stuff like that. And in addition to that, I'm getting heavily into filmmaking and videography, which I'm sure we'll talk more on here in just a bit. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I've got going on right now and trying to avoid, the coronavirus and all that good stuff.
Yes, that's kind of put a damper on just about everything that we can think of right now. I mean, it was just yesterday, my wife and I were talking about, her work. She works in downtown Fort Worth, and they haven't been there since March. Now think about not just her company, but all the companies in that building, the buildings themselves, and then all the restaurants, all the things that depend on people to be there, and that's how they survive. That's just one little element of it though. I mean, and then it moves on, of course Order 42, you guys know I focus on the movies, the movie industry and stuff like that. So it's really, really interesting just to hear everybody's kind of point of view on where they're standing. And I mean, gosh, Billy and Jay, I mean, they've been affected, Oh
yeah.
Their whole thing. So yeah. Now, I'd like you to tell the story. I mean, again, if you've been to, by the way, sorry, I'm all over the place. ! Retro Wolf in the chat if you want to get a link to Matt's channel. It goes right there. And then, of course, that'll stay forever. I'm basically doing anybody that's doing an interview on my channel. The least I can do is continue to help promote you, down the road, even if, 2 months they're like, hey, what was that guy, and I can go ! Retro Wolf in the chat and they can get it. But anyway, I forgot where I was going.
I don't know either because I can't read your mind.
That's what I was going to say. Sorry. We had some technical difficulties to start, so it kind of shook me a little bit, so just bear with me. But when we met, well, I'll just say this. I didn't know who you were. You didn't probably know who I was. I've actually done an interview on your channel
Hmm.
talking about my experiences with the movie and all that kind of stuff. So I'd like you to tell my audience your experience on the Game Chasers set and like how we met and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And before I do that, I want to give a quick shout out to somebody in the chat, if that's okay.
Oh, sure.
In the chat, a fellow by the name of Wolffellow. He is my silent partner on the YouTube channel. He's also my nephew. Me and him started the channel together. I could not do the channel without him. He's just as important to the channel as I am. So I just want to give a shout out to him real quick because I really appreciate all the hard work that he does on the channel as
Of
well.
course. Of course.
But yeah, so I've always been a huge fan of the Game Chasers. Ever since I started collecting video games, that's when I discovered the Game Chasers, and they inspired me to keep collecting games, and I learned a lot about game collecting from the Game Chasers, and watching their show enabled me to build the collection that you see behind me without breaking the bank. And so, when I found out they were making a movie, I was like, and that it was going to be kickstarted, two things went through my mind, right? First, I'd been watching the show for a long time, so I knew what Billy was capable of in terms of videography, filmmaking, creativity, because their show is very, very, anybody that's seen the Game Chasers, and I'm sure everybody in your chat has, their show is just so well put together, so much so that it could really, Billy could take his show and put it on network TV easily, and it would be just like American Pickers or something like that. Even better, I think. More entertaining, in my opinion. So, I've always been a big believer in the Game Chasers, and I know what Billy's capable of just by watching the show. So when I found out they were kickstarting a movie, I immediately knew I wanted to support it, right? And I went on the Kickstarter. I saw the tiers, the different tiers they had, and believe me, I wanted to back the most expensive one, but at the time I didn't have the money. But I did have the money to back the Hangout on the Set tier. So, and that allows you to have a day or two to hang out on the movie set for a full day or however long you want to. So I backed that tier, went down to Texas for the first time. And by the way, Texas, dude, Texas is awesome. I fell in love with Texas. I mean, the freaking barbecue restaurants, man, the Mexican restaurants, Whataburger. I don't have Whataburger where I live in Tennessee. And what's that taco place, that like fast food taco place called? I can't remember the name.
Is it Taco Casa?
Taco Casa, dude. I wish that I had Taco Casa where I live, because I would be eating there instead of Taco Bell for sure. Anyways, love Texas. But so I went down to Texas, and I didn't know what to expect, right? The first day I went on the movie set, and by the way, I was joined by a good friend of mine, Gabe, because Billy allowed most people that visited the set to bring, at least one person along with them if they wanted. So I was joined by my friend Gabe, and neither me nor Gabe, neither of us knew what to expect. And that first day that I got on set, dude, I was nervous as hell. I'm not gonna lie, I was really nervous, man. Because not only am I gonna be meeting Billy and Jay and Eric and a bunch of other people that I really enjoy, but also I walked onto that movie set and I didn't know anybody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So me and Gabe, when we first got there, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. It was really dark. It was cold. And we're just kind of standing off to one side while everybody's eating breakfast. And we're kind of a little bit nervous to talk to people. And, we didn't want to interrupt anybody or disturb anybody. And everybody was eating their breakfast. And I'm standing here eating a Cliff Bar that I brought with me because, I didn't want to be rude and just help myself to the breakfast without somebody giving me permission.
Right.
So we're standing there, and eventually, and none of the guys were there yet. Billy, Jay, none of them were there yet, but eventually they showed up. Billy, Jay popped out of the car. Eric popped out of the car. They all three looked exhausted, dude. Like, they all looked exhausted. So, me and Gabe, we wanted to go say hi, but at first we were like, you know what? Let's at least let the guys eat some breakfast and maybe get some coffee or something first. Um, but that that was kind of the start of it, right? And I didn't know what to expect from there. But then eventually we went and talked to Billy, we talked to Jay, we talked to Eric. Um, and then eventually the filming started. And obviously can't go into a whole lot of detail because, you know, we don't want to spoil anything about the movie. But the filming started, and I was going to be an extra in one of the scenes, which was really cool. But before that happened, before actually, no, that scene was filmed first. So got to be an extra in a scene, which was really awesome. And just to see the whole process was amazing. You know, the crew, the cast and the crew, everybody worked together like a well-oiled machine. You know, the communication was great. But at the same time, it was a even though it was a very fast-paced environment, everybody was doing their job, getting their jobs done. Uh, it was still kind of relaxing and laid back at the same time, if that makes sense. At least that day it was. I'm sure it wasn't like that every day, but that day there was kind of a relaxing, laid back atmosphere, and you know, everybody was joking around with each other and having a good time. I could tell everybody got along, everybody worked well together. But to see the process of on that particular day, them building the set, it was an outdoor set, watching the prop department build the set, you know, seeing the camera, you know, and every time they're moving around, they're saying camera on the move, and you make sure you're out of the way because you don't want to be the person that bumps into that camera or even breathes on the damn thing. But yeah, man, just I was on set for 4 days, so I could honestly go on and on and on for hours for every little detail with every little detail of what my experience was. Do you have any like specific questions so I can kind of zero it in so I'm not all over the
No,
place?
sure, sure, yeah. I mean, I guess my thing was like when we met, it the funny thing was I had no idea. I because the way that I looked at things was, and this was something that I learned on set, was that there were some days when I would come on set and there was totally new people,
Yeah.
because it was like, I'm sure Rudy and Larissa were kind of like, okay, we've got this sound guy that can be here, or that's a bad example because Robbie, our sound guy, was there the whole time. But you know, this person may only be able to work with us for a week. So then this week we're gonna have this person, and then this week we're gonna have this. So I was used to seeing different people all the time. So I had no idea. I thought you were just part of the crew, you and Gabe. I
Yeah.
had no idea until I think it was. I don't exactly know when. It was probably Billy. Probably said, "Yeah, he, you know, just like Albert, he kickstarted the,
Hmm.
you know, helped to kick on the Kickstarter,
Yeah.
and so he's a guest on the set." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And
Yeah.
by the way, I mean, we said hello to Albert, I think, but
Yep.
man, it Albert was the same way.
Hmm.
He was there day one, so of course I don't know anybody anyway.
Yeah.
So I thought he was part of the crew as well. And then it was only later on down the road where it was like, oh yeah, we're gonna put him in this scene. I'm like, oh okay, oh okay. So I was constantly being, you know, introduced to people. So it was completely new to me. But from your
Hmm.
perspective, like, did you feel any? I mean, I know you said that you felt nervous, but how quickly did you acclimate yourself to to what was going on?
You know, it was honestly pretty quickly because everybody in the cast and crew made me and Gabe feel welcome. You know, Billy and Jay were really nice to us. Eric was really nice to us. You were really nice to us. Everybody just made us feel welcome. So because of that, my initial nervousness went down pretty quick, right? So it didn't really take long to get acclimated. And you know, from the very beginning, my whole attitude going into that was I didn't want to just stand around and watch, which, you know, watching is great because it was a learning experience and I got to see what a movie set was like and how the whole process is. But I also wanted to get my hands dirty. So I immediately told Billy and shoot, I can't remember her name, starts with a C, short
Christine?
lady, Christine. Yeah. I immediately told Billy and Christine, you know, I'm like, look, if there's anything me and Gabe can do to help, put our asses to work. We don't care. We'll help you move stuff around. You know, whatever you need us to do, put us to work. So, you know, that and they did. They let us help. They let us do different things. Like for example, that day, I helped them transport different people to another part of the set for some other scenes that were being filmed with Jim, with Grindhead Jim. And I got to see those scenes being filmed, which was awesome. because some of those scenes are in the climax of the movie. You don't want to, say anything other than that. But yeah, so whenever they actually let us help and do different things instead of just standing around watching, that really helped me get acclimated even quicker.
That's awesome. I mean, it was one of those that's weird. I don't know what Nightbot's doing. Calm down, Nightbot.
You cannot.
I called Yoshi's command because I saw Yoshi here. Hey Yoshi, how's it going?
What's up, Yoshi?
I don't even know what that means.
That is weird.
I wonder if it's because I tried that. Hold on a second. Let me just fix this real quick. Here we go. See, I bet it was trying to pull yours up, and since I had an alias put in there that didn't work.
Oh, yeah.
It tried to automatically pull your thing up, your command up. So let's try it now.
I like Yoshi's response.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for dropping by, Yoshi.
Hey, I got Yoshi's great to see you. Great to see you, man.
Got your sales today, man. I'm going to do a post about it later. They're awesome. You do really good work.
Yes, and I mean, well, we've mentioned it many times on this show. His Etsy. Yeah. Search that out, because I'm telling you that Artificial Empire, I think, is where you can get to it from there. But yeah, I love that stuff. I don't have anywhere to put it. That's my problem. And that's like, I also feel like it's part of history. So I'm like, I'm worried about having that here.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
By the way, can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear.
Was that one of the planes you were talking about? Yeah.
Oof.
Well, at least it's not shaking your whole damn house,
No, but I live like right in the flight path. So there are days when it's like, oh my God. Yeah. It's like, you think the world's coming to an end or something.
Yep.
But anyway, I guess my thing with the movie set, like from your point of view, I think that's the most surprising thing that I think most people felt, was that even though there was so much going on, you never felt that pressure. I believe that, I mean, I'm guessing here, but I feel like Rudy and Christine, their job is to figure out all the details so that everybody is just able to focus on what they need to focus on. Yeah. And I love the fact that you coming in, you felt that way, 2 weeks, I guess it was was it 2 weeks into the shoot?
Yeah, it was roughly 2 weeks in, yeah.
And you spent 3 days there.
4.
Oh, 4 days.
Yep.
See, all, I mean, now, especially together, now, it's almost a year later, which is insane to think about. It all blends together for me.
Yeah, I was there all 3 days at the skating rink.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the skating rink. That was a fun time. We talked about that. But I don't know. I think the greatest thing about having Albert and you guys on the set was, it wasn't just, hey, you stand over there and you just watch. You were able to take part, and which is something that I didn't know what was going on. Billy just said, hey, come to Part 8 with us. And I'm like, okay. And then you guys were there too. Yeah. And it's like, it was kind of like a bonus for everybody, because we got to hang out, and that was just fun, and getting to know you guys, you and Gabe, and of course that was a fun hangout anyway. Yoshi was there. Yeah. I mean, it was Leon. Yeah, it was so great. Scott was there. So yeah, it was a really, really, really good time. And then of course I kind of oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, at some point I want to kind of just talk about some of my favorite moments on set.
Oh, that was my next question, actually. But the thing about Albert is that I've wanted that with Albert. It's like after you guys left, it's like, oh, I didn't really get to hang out with Albert,
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it just happened that way, you know?
Yeah, and I wish that I could have been on set at the same time as Albert, man. Albert, dude, Albert's an awesome guy. He's been supporting my YouTube channel, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that I didn't get to meet him while I was down there.
Yeah, and I mean he's been a big supporter of mine here, you know,
Yeah.
on this channel too. And the YouTube. I mean, gosh, he's
Hmm.
been retweeting and liking and doing all the things. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
I really appreciate that. Of course, I mean, let's be honest. We appreciate all of our anybody that views any of our content. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
really just I can't say enough about it. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
But so yeah, let's get into it. What were your favorite moments on set?
Okay, so all right, so I'll start with the first day because I've got a few favorite moments from every day, right? So first day, a couple of my favorite moments. Being asked to take Jim to the other part of the set that day outdoors, trying to be vague in what I say, and being able to see those scenes being filmed with Jim and Billy and Jay. But also at one point, Billy was trying to get some behind the scenes footage with his camera, and I was like, "Hey, man, if you want me to, I'll take some of that footage for you." And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So he handed me the camera, and that was the camera that they used to film Game Chasers episodes, right? So I got to use the actual Game Chasers camera to film some behind the scenes footage. So that was awesome. That I really enjoyed that. Being able to be an extra in that outdoor scene, that was a lot of fun because, you know, initially I was going to be doing something very simplistic in the background as some background action, but then because of the way the scene was, they had to make a change to make the scene believable, to sell the scene. And that change required me and the other guy to do something else. I'm trying to be so vague here,
No,
man.
yeah.
You understand. So I'm really excited to see how that scene turns out, because that's going to be really cool. But then at one point, Billy and Jay were passing football in a field, and me and Gabe were like, "Hey, you guys care if we join you?" So we got to pass football with Billy and Jay. That was a lot of fun. But then something happened. My most embarrassing moment on set. So this was after all the filming was done for the day. Everybody was kind of packing up and everything. And me, Gabe, and Jay, we were passing football in the field. And look, dude, I used to be able to throw a spiral on target really far. I used to be able to throw a football really good, but that was like 10 years ago. And I haven't thrown a football much in like the last 10 years. So obviously now I can't throw a football for shit. So, I'm doing my best passing the football back and forth with Jay. And Jay is a freaking beast, dude. He freaking throws spirals every time right at your chest. But Jay too. I mean, Billy too. They're both beasts at throwing a football. But anyways, Jay had to go to the bathroom. So me and Gabe started walking down towards the road. And Billy was kind of in the road, and he made a motion at Gabe, wanting Gabe to throw the football to him. So Gabe threw the football to Billy. Me and Gabe were kind of up on a hill in the grass. Billy was down in the road. I'm trying to set the scene. So, like, Billy's down in the road. You got a line of vehicles here next to Billy. There's a group of people in front of a truck talking, which one of them was Wood from Beat 'em Ups and a bunch of other people. So Billy passes the football to Gabe. Gabe passes it back to Billy. Billy passes it back to me. I pass it back. We go back and forth a few times, and then the football comes back to me. I go to pass it at Billy, right? And instead of going to Billy, the football goes straight towards the group of people standing in front of the truck, right? And so they all see it and they scatter, and the football bounces off of the windshield of the truck. And I hear Larissa go, she screamed at the top of her lungs. She goes, "That's why we don't throw a football on a movie set." And she says, "Give me the football." And she confiscated the football. And I don't think they ever got it back, man. Oh, dude. So that was, and I just kind of walked off. I just kind of walked away like, "Oh, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here." But it was fine. We had a good laugh about it. I was embarrassed for about 5 minutes, and then it wore off. And now it makes for kind of a funny story to tell. So it's all good. So then at the skating rink, some of my favorite movies there, because I was there for 3 days. Favorite memories. Did I say favorite movies? I did
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite memories. Well, so for one thing, there was a Pac-Man arcade machine in the skating rink, and it had kind of a jacked up joystick. Like the joystick worked, but not very well. And of course, Jay, every chance he got, he was playing that Pac-Man arcade machine. And the dude is a beast at Pac-Man. So he set a super high score, even with a busted up joystick. And he announced to everybody, he said, "Hey, if anybody can beat my score, I'll give you $100 bill." So many people tried to beat his score, dude. So many people, and nobody could do it. I never tried because I sucked at Pac-Man, so I knew it would be a complete waste of time for me to waste quarters trying. But a lot of other people did. Nobody could beat it. So Jay won that bet. Um, another really awesome moment. So I brought a bunch of games with me, retro games that are in my excess inventory in case anybody wanted to buy some games while I was there, and a couple of people did. Leon, Game Dave, OK Chief bought some stuff. But one night, Billy comes out there and he's, kind of looking at the games while Leon was digging around in there trying to pick out some stuff to buy. And Billy says to me, "Hey, man, is there any chance that you could?" Because that was supposed to be my last day on set. That was day 2, supposed to be my last day on set. But Billy says, "Hey, is there any way you can come back tomorrow and bring these NES games with you? Because I want to use them as props for the movie." And of course, I'm like, "Well, hell yeah, dude. I mean, hell yeah, I'll be back." So I came back the next day, and some of my NES games, pretty much all my NES games, are props in the movie. So there's going to be a couple of scenes in the movie where you guys are going to see some NES games. Those were my NES games. So that's awesome. That's very, very cool. Just to be able to say that my games were used as props in the movies. And I even, once it was done, I gave a stack of them to Billy and said, "Hey, man, take these games, have the cast sign them, and sell them on eBay and make some more money for the movie." Because honestly, I mean, I paid next to nothing for those games, because I got them in a large game lot. So I didn't have any problem with it. And I wanted to support the movie some more because I know Billy needed more money for the movie because it was expensive. So that was cool. And then, but my absolute favorite moment from the entire time was one that you already brought up, but Billy inviting me and Gabe to go eat at Heart 8 with you, Leon, Yoshi, Scott. Billy's wife was there. So dude, that was an awesome night. Amazing restaurant. Some of the best barbecue food I think I've ever had. Hey, Grindhead Jim, what's up,
Yeah.
brother?
Jim is
Uh,
here with the raid. What's up, everybody?
Hell yeah.
Good to
But
see you.
yeah, man, that's pretty much those are pretty much some.
Well, yeah, and that's what I was gonna say is the and Rez 1198 here with the host as well. How is it going? It's awesome to see you guys here. And Jim, I saw you were streaming earlier, and I hosted you, but then I got really busy, and then got behind, and then I had to do a show. So yeah, but yeah, man, welcome back to Twitch. I don't know. He made a big deal out of it. Like, don't call it a comeback. But anyway, what the heck? I didn't do anything. No sound from Matt. Okay, hold on. What the heck's going on? No. I wonder if I don't understand. I can hear you. They can't hear you. You broke my stream, dude. The hell? I had everything working. Let me see. I'm gonna disable that just to see. Hold on, folks. We're gonna do it. We're gonna fix it. Audio. Now it's back.
Can you hear me?
Yep, everything's
Sweet.
back.
Awesome. Problem solved. Good
Damn
job,
it,
man.
Jim.
Ah,
But
Jim.
yes, we're all good now. We're all good. And yeah, did you did everybody see my new emote? Oh, it's so dumb.
Which one is it?
Jim just put it in there in the chat. It's
Is it the
my
face, the
it's
face palm one?
yeah, it's my crazy hair.
Nice.
But yeah, okay. So where were we?
Finished up talking about some of my favorite moments on set.
Yes. And I think I don't know. I mean, there's so many great things that like every day there was something.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like what he should have done, what Billy should have done is had his camera there and had and maybe had Gabe just film, cuz I mean, isn't even is Gabe's in the movie, right? Gabe's
He was in the same scene that I was that day, and I was in another scene as well in the skating
yeah.
rink in the background.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I feel like there should have been a camera going 24/7
Dude, that would have been awesome. So many, yeah.
because there were so many moments that nobody could have planned for
Yep.
that were just hilarious, you know?
Yep.
Just fun. Just the hangout aspect of being on a movie set with these guys, you know?
Yep.
These amazing people. They're entertainers, period.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
they're always entertaining. So yeah, it's just a bit of a bummer that there isn't, you know, we could have done a live stream of the whole thing, you know what I mean? And it would, and anyway,
I don't know though, man. There was some pretty offensive things said on set sometimes. I don't know if we could have live streamed some of that.
right. No, I know, but there was. I mean, I just remember I think one of my big pinch me moments. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Was it was around the time that I think I'm pretty sure you and Gabe were standing there, but we're all sitting there like almost in a circle, and with TOS chasers, yeah, oh yeah, there was some really crazy stuff on set, but anyway, we're all sitting there having this conversation. And we're cutting up and being stupid and silly and laughing. There's no cameras on us or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all kind of, I remember I'm sitting there and I'm just kind of like enjoying just hanging out or whatever. And then I look up and there's a bunch of people standing there like just watching.
Yeah.
Because you guys were just like, oh, we're just listening to them hang out. This is cool, you know? But it was, there was more people than that. I think it was that day during that shoot, and it was weird. Because it was like, oh yeah, these guys are famous. And I'm not. I'm like so not. So I don't know. I felt lucky to just be included, you know?
Hell, I think I talked to you and Scott and Leon more than anybody, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean, it's like we formed all of these different relationships. Oh, Nightbot.
It says you're starting to bug me. Oh, damn.
Oh, what happened?
Oh, Nightbot's being an ass.
8 messages were deleted.
Gee.
What did you do, Jim? Quit trying to break my stream.
Pissing off Nightbot, man.
Nightbot, we're gonna have to put you in a corner, buddy, if you're not if you don't chill out. But no, like I said, I just loved having the experience, and you were a big part of that, you know? So it's one of those things where I can't see myself ever forgetting it, because it was such a special time, you know, for all of us, really. But I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't talk about how it affected you personally, just the experience of being on set, seeing movies being made. So why don't you talk a little bit about what you've been up to?
Yeah, absolutely. And real quick, I before I jump into that, if you don't mind, I had one more memory that popped into my head that I wanted to share.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
So the final night that I was there at the skating rink, Billy, or I think it was Christine or somebody, sent out, social media calls to people in the Dallas area because they needed a lot of extras. and they needed those extras to be nerds. They needed them to be nerd extras. And dude, oh man, these guys that showed up on set, they were legit. They were legit nerds. They did not have to act. I mean, look, all right. And look, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a nerd, right? That's not what I'm saying. I mean, hell, me and you are a little nerdy about certain things. Everybody's nerdy about some things, right? But these guys were what you call the stereotypical nerds, right? And everybody, I'm sure in the chat knows what I mean by the stereotypical nerd, right? And dude, they came in there, you know, with Dungeons and Dragons stuff and Magic the Gathering stuff. And like, they just started helping themselves to the food. They were all over the place talking, just helping themselves to the place. But one of the funniest things, okay, so you know the two younger female production assistants, shit, what was their names? Odette and I can't remember the other girl's name.
Yeah, see, she was new.
Yeah.
And I was never introduced to her, so I don't even know if I know her name. Jim, do you remember? I bet Jim remembers. Jim remembers all.
It was a unique name. I remember that. At any rate, so you know, they were really nice. Those two girls were really nice, really friendly. And so they were talking to some of these nerd extras that came in. And dude, I kid you not, I don't know if you saw this, but as soon as these girls talked to even one of these guys, they all just surrounded the girls, just wanting to talk to them. It was like, oh man, it was something else. It was something else. And I could tell that they were trying to be very friendly, but at the same time, I could tell they wanted to get away.
Yeah.
So yeah, but those were some legit extras, dude. And they were legit.
I don't think I've said this on here on my show. I might have said it on yours. I don't remember. But Jim, we were talking about the other production assistant that came on later after there was Odette, and then
Notoria. That was her name.
That's it.
Notoria.
That's it. So never mind, Jim.
Notoria.
Just chill out, man.
You're so helpful, Jim. Jeez.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. But no, I'm sitting there, and again, I didn't look at myself as anything special, right?
Right. Right.
You know, people were treating me differently, but I remember that day, like specifically, I'm running around with my clipboard doing my thing, my job on set. And at one point I sit down, and because I'm pretty sure that was the same day when, man, that was the worst day for me physically. Like my Crohn's was kicking in that day, and I was just, it's like, it literally is like, you know, you've got a big volume knob, you know, like in Back to the Future, you know. I was from 10, I was down to 5 or 6. I was not feeling well. And just dragging, and I'm like, whatever. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just like trying to collect myself, collect my energy, all that kind of stuff. And this guy comes up and he goes, "Hey, I just want to let you know, you know, I feel like you're doing a good job." And I was like, "Hey, thanks, man." And then he goes, "And also, I brought my bow staff if it's needed." And I was like, I don't think you're going to be in a fight scene, dude. Why are you bringing a bow staff? I mean, it was just such a weird thing to just throw out there.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I mean, those guys, they were, other than them being a little complainy.
And disruptive sometimes too.
Yes, but they were a little complainy. Because, you know, they were just there all of a sudden, and they don't know how movies work.
Right.
So yeah, they were just kind of like, "Why are we still waiting around? What's going on?" You know, and it was just like, just trust me, everything's. Anyway, it was a great time though. It was a great time though. But you were inspired,
dude.
Right?
That's an understatement. Okay, so before I had this experience, you know, I had a YouTube channel. And, you know, I put a lot of passion into the YouTube channel, a lot of hard work into the YouTube channel, trying to build it up. But after I had this experience, I'll say this, okay? First of all, And no joke when I say this, Rob, that was one of the best experiences I've had in my life. It's way up there on the list of some of the best experiences I've had in my life. Okay, I had so much fun. I did not want to leave, dude. I was so sad whenever I had to leave that night, but I had to. Didn't have a choice. But I was so inspired by not just Billy, but the cast, the crew, just the whole process. I had so much fun that I walked away from that experience thinking to myself, you know what? I could see myself doing this. I could see myself doing this and being good at it. So it was like a spark. You know what I mean? It was like it lit a fire in me. It lit a new passion in me. And I left that experience deciding 100% that I want to pursue some kind of career in this world. Okay. So since then, in the last year, I've spent tons and tons of time educating myself on videography, filmmaking, screenwriting. I've invested money in a lot of good equipment because I'm starting my own production company very, very soon where I'm going to take on local videography jobs and do short films and stuff like that. So I guess you could say that that experience really changed the course of my life, um, in a good way, in a positive way. Because look, dude, I work at an insurance company. Okay. And I don't want to sound like I'm complaining because I do like my job. I make good money. You know, I have good benefits. I work with a lot of amazing people, but I most certainly do not want to be doing that for the rest of my life. I most certainly do not want to have a desk job for the rest of my life. As much as I do enjoy it, I have a lot of pride in my work. Um, I do not want to do that for the rest of my life. The thought of me doing that for the rest of my life makes me miserable, even though I do like the job, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's not what I
Perfect.
truly do. It's not my passion. So really, that experience set me on a new course in life to try to align myself with a new passion so that I can get out of that 9 to 5 weekday office job and be my own boss and do my own thing. So since then, like I said, I've been educating myself very heavily. I am working on writing a short film, like a 15-ish minute long short film. I've got like 3/4 of the rough draft of the script written. Unfortunately, the virus has put a damper in a lot of that. So I'm probably going to shoot that spring of next year is what I'm aiming for. But yeah, and I'm fixing to start the production company. I am getting ready to take on. I'm starting with real estate work. I'm going to do real estate photography and videography just to kind of get my foot in the door and get some revenue generated.
Heck yeah.
Because real estate work is as long as you have the right equipment and some basic knowledge, it's actually relatively easy to do. It's really not that bad. So I'm dipping my toes in there. But the idea is here's the grand plan, right? And I owe all this to that one experience on the Game Chasers movie, to Billy being such an inspiration. And I've told him, dude, I've told him several times, I've thanked him several times for being an inspiration to me. But the grand plan is start this production company, which Wolfellow in the chat is going to be part of the company. He's going to be helping me with a lot of stuff. Start the production company, take on jobs, videography jobs, make money from those jobs, take some of that money and put it into producing short films, or you know what I mean, producing my own personal projects, and to try to dip my toes into that side of the world, that side of that world. So yeah, I mean it definitely, dude. I mean it set me on a new path in life, and that doesn't happen very often. Especially, I mean, I'm 32. You know, the older you get, the less likely you are to start pursuing a new path in life. You know what I mean? So I'm very thankful for that experience, because if not for that experience, I may not have ever pursued this path. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it was money well spent, not just to support the Game Chasers movie, but also because it led me on a new path, and that is invaluable to discover a new passion. You can't put a price on that.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, it's weird that I'm hearing my own story almost read back to me in a way,
Yeah.
because I was God, I was doing corporate field marketing Excel all day.
Mm-hmm.
And what's funny is, I think I told you this, the week prior to Billy giving me a call, I walked out on my job. and I said, screw this, I'm going home. And I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of, this effing job sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily my boss wasn't there to hear that, but everybody
Yeah.
else did. And
Yeah.
it was like, I just felt like crap,
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, whatever, what am I going to do? And I just came back the next day and I said, no, my head's clear and I'm back in the game. And then
Mm-hmm.
Billy calls me a couple of days later. And then I quit my job. I start working with him, doing all that stuff. It's amazing the effect that this has had on so many people. Not just you,
Yes.
not just me,
Right.
a lot of people. And in
Yep.
fact, what's even cooler about it is that the passion that I think we all had for the movie was so infectious that the people that were hired to work on the movie for us,
Mm-hmm.
they saw that too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because Rudy said on this show, he's like, I would do another one in a heartbeat.
That's awesome.
Peter, our
Mm-hmm.
cinematographer, I'd do another one in a heartbeat. And I can guarantee you that almost everybody that worked on it
Mm-hmm.
would come back if they were available and we'd asked them to. Which
Everybody
would be
had a
amazing.
great time.
And I think part of it was that all of us, I mean, you, me, everybody was willing to learn and to put
Yes.
aside ego to try to make something great.
Yep.
And I think when you hear all these stories about movies being made, when you get that whole thing where it's like, it was so amazing to do, and you hear about this love that kind of comes out of it. Yeah, I mean, you spoke to it. It's exactly what we felt, and it wasn't just you and it wasn't just me, it was all of us. We all felt it, and it was just an amazing experience. So
Mm-hmm.
I highly suggest, if you have the means, go get on a movie set and experience it for yourself. And what's even funnier is, you said you didn't want it to end.
I
Right?
didn't.
Me, by the end of it, I said, never again. Never again. I was on my way home, because what I was doing was I was kind of keeping a nice Wayne's World reference. I was every night on my way home, or every day, whatever time it was, I was recording my thoughts on the way
That's a
home
good
as
idea.
I'm driving home, because I had an hour drive to get home every night. So
Yeah.
for me, it was a 14-hour day every day, minimum.
Yeah.
So I'm on my way home, and I remember saying, never again. This is never happening again. I'm not doing it again. There's no way you could get me on set. 5 days later, 6 days later, I'm like, when are we going to do another one?
Yep.
What else can I do? It was just amazing. And it was an amazing experience for all of us. And I feel
Yeah.
like almost every member of the cast is going to have more credits in their name, because it was like Jim helped out with this, and then this happened over here, and it's just like one of the best solo shows. What are you talking about, Octavius? I'm curious because, well, I used to do a solo show.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the, way back in the day, where I would just speak my thoughts, and yeah, it was like, this guy needs to be committed, is what it used to be like. I've calmed down a lot since then.
Yeah.
But I would yell at people, and yes, okay, the car shows, yeah. So that's what I was doing it. Bucho had actually talked to me, and he said, you need to do this on the way home every night, see if you can do it. And I was doing it, and he said, you may never want to put it out. And there's no way I could put them out, because there's way too much. Not that I was sitting there talking bad about everybody, but there was so much that I was giving away.
Right.
And at the time, I wasn't thinking about preserving the script, or you know what I mean? Anyway.
So let me ask you a question.
Oh, okay. Sure.
After the movie is released and spoilers are not as much of an issue, do you plan on talking in more detail about your experiences, like in a way where you can actually talk about stuff without being vague because you're not worried about breaking an NDA or
Of
spoiling stuff?
course.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a part of me that feels like, I guess it depends on how successful the movie is too, but
Yeah.
I feel like there is going to be people who are going to want to hear more.
Yeah.
And I'll put it out there somewhere.
Yeah.
It might be on YouTube or
Hmm.
whatever. But I've got them all. Um, and I do plan on doing something with them
Hmm.
eventually. But there will be times when, I mean, I don't remember what I said. I have no idea.
You might
So
have to edit it and piece it
yeah,
together
I
and
might
stuff.
have to do some cleaning up,
Yeah.
because there's probably some days when I was mad about
Yeah.
something or whatever. And that's the thing too. Everybody had short memories.
Right.
Like, you'd have somebody kind of get onto you about something,
Hmm.
and then the next day they're all like buddy buddy with you and elbowing you and all that stuff, and then I would get mad, and then I wouldn't say mad, upset about something,
Yeah.
and then the next day I'm like, okay, we're
Yeah.
yeah, interview everyone again. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for some reason Eagle Ford's name is so dark I can't
It
see it.
is. It's pretty dark.
It's weird, but anyway, yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where there's gonna be more context
Hmm.
after the movie's done. Um, and I will say, I mean, it kind of already is out there, I guess,
Hmm.
but I have seen most of the movie at this point.
Nice. Nice.
The rough
Yeah.
cut, and you're running the circuit again. You have so much you want to talk about once it's released. Yes, yes. And I will say that there's, of course, actually, as of now, if Saturday, what is today, the 17th,
Hmm.
Billy and Jay are in Colorado filming some pickup shots right
Yeah.
now, and all those pickup shots are needed for establishing shots or whatever. I mean, when you're
Hmm.
doing editing of a movie, it helps tell the story to have a
Right.
shot of somebody's, a close up of a foot slamming on an accelerator
Yeah.
or whatever, all those kinds of things.
I bet there's a fine balance between too many pickup shots and not enough pickup shots. There's
Right.
probably a middle ground you have to hit, you
Right.
know?
But it's weird though, because if you, especially all three of us, Billy, Jay, and me, we've
Hmm.
seen so many movies
Yeah.
because we worked at Blockbuster. And if you've seen the kind of movies, the amount of movies that you have, you start to just immediately understand the language of
Right.
movies and editing. So then when you start to see things done, you go, you know what that needs? It needs this little thing right here. And
Hmm.
that'll connect those two scenes and make it flow better. It's
Hmm.
weird how you just instinctively start to know what to do.
Yep.
And that's the kind of stuff where Billy is right now. Got the thing, he's got all the scenes put together. Now
Hmm.
he needs all that connective tissue.
Yeah.
And I will just say that the movie works.
Yeah.
And I am very happy to say that, in my opinion, the movie works. Now, does that mean anything? No. It's like a pre-interview of some star going, oh, it's going to be the best movie ever. Of course they're going to say that.
Yeah.
Unless they had a terrible time on the movie, they're not going to say, this movie sucks.
Yeah. Well,
But
look.
I've really enjoyed what I've seen so far, and I can't wait to see how everything really comes together. Because it's almost like a rough draft of a script. So, very
See you,
excited.
Bucho.
Oh, Bucho, see you later, man. Good to see you. Always good to see you.
Rob, I think your opinion does matter because I mean you're very knowledgeable about movies. You've seen a lot of movies. I've heard you talk about movies, and I can tell you're very, very knowledgeable about movies. But another thing that look, I've never had any doubt that the movie is going to be good. Everything I saw filmed those 4 days on set, I saw a lot of scenes filmed. There's a lot I haven't seen filmed, a whole lot. but just the scenes that I saw filmed were awesome. You know what I mean? The quality was amazing. Everything was great. But, you know, outside of just believing in Billy and the cast and the crew, another thing that was really encouraging is that Kickstarter update Billy sent out where he sent a rough cut of the movie to some kind of Netflix producer, not to try to sell it to Netflix, but just to get some feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy had some damn good feedback, dude.
Yeah.
That was some good feedback. He threw some constructive criticism in there too, but
Yep.
it really seemed like this producer enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
So that's a really good sign in my mind.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he sent that to me too, and it was like, because that was my whole thing. Is I felt like I was too close to it, so I couldn't judge it properly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, we need someone else not
Yeah,
connected to see
right.
this and to give us feedback. And I am very happy. I'm very happy to hear that the movie works.
Mm-hmm.
So we just need to clean it up,
Yeah.
and maybe even, if Billy doesn't piss off another member of Twisted Sister, maybe we can get some more movies or some more
Look,
music in there.
in his
But
defense, that was unintentional. He did not. eh, People twisted his words around. You know what I mean?
oh
I
yeah,
saw all
and
that. Yeah, it was.
you know what's funny? This is something that I don't understand, and I'm
Mhm.
curious if you've experienced this as well. I don't understand how people don't like these guys.
It's weird, man, because they're so freaking likable. And you know, one thing that I've told people time and time again is, you know, the how you see Billy and Jay on the Game Chasers, that's not an act. That is them. That is their personality. That's how
Right.
they are in real life. And dude, they were both super nice and super good to me and Gabe. You know what I mean? And they don't have an ego. They're not like, oh, look at us, we're big YouTube stars. They don't have that mentality. They're just regular, fun, very likable guys. But you know how people are, man. Some people are so miserable in their own existence that the only way they can make themselves happy is to hate on other people. So it is what it is, you know.
I just don't understand it. And this is even weirder. My YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a very, very small YouTube channel where I'm posting,
Yeah.
I guess the replays of these interviews and things like that. I have I have plenty of likes. I have two
Mm-hmm.
dislikes on the
Mm-hmm.
every video I've done. I've got two dislikes. One's on Billy's and one's on Dave's. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Oh,
I just don't understand. But
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Dude, it didn't take me long in life to realize to just stop trying to understand people because you just can't. You just can't. I don't care what the psychologists say, dude. You just can't understand people, man.
yeah.
So I just, you know, I've gotten to the point now to where I just I do what makes me happy and try to enjoy my own life. And the people out there that are trolls and miserable people and haters, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
If that's how they want to be, that's how they want to be.
Now, can you go into a little bit about your other project that's coming up? I don't know how much you can say.
Well, I mean, honestly, everything that's on the Kickstarter page at this point in time is all I know.
Hmm.
They haven't started the production meetings yet. Let me take a step back. So, um, I backed another movie on Kickstarter, right? Um, because I want that experience again, and I want the experience to be longer and more in depth because I still have a lot to learn, dude. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm an expert because I'm not. I still have a hell of a lot to learn about filmmaking, about gear, about editing,
Right.
everything involved with the whole process. Still have a hell of a lot to learn. And I'll never stop having something to learn. Nobody will. There's always something to learn. At any rate, so a YouTuber by the name of Nerdstalgic, he has a YouTube channel over 600,000 subscribers. He does videos where he breaks down different topics with movies and TV shows. He'll pick a topic, he'll break it down. It's almost like a video essay, I guess you could say. Dude is very, very smart. He's very intelligent. He's very good at analyzing movies and TV shows and breaking down different things, which is why his YouTube channel blew up so much. In like a year, it blew up to over 600,000 subscribers, which is crazy. Anyways, he's doing a Kickstarter on a movie that he wrote. He wrote the entire screenplay. He's going to be directing it, and it's called Reset. And in a nutshell, it's kind of like a futuristic coming of age movie about a couple. The whole movie takes place, I believe, over the course of 24 hours with two main protagonists. And in this movie, there is a way of when you hit a certain age, you have two options. You can either do what's called a reset, where you can go back to a much earlier age in life and have a do-over, or you can keep going forward in life, but you won't have that opportunity again. And I think the two characters, or one or more of the characters, is at that age. So it's a very unique premise. I don't know much more about the movie other than that, but it's a very unique premise. But this movie, it has got a lot of big people in Hollywood attached to it. A lot of some big time producers. So it's gonna be a pretty big deal. And the Kickstarter had a tier called an executive producer tier, and that's the tier I backed. It was the most expensive tier on the Kickstarter. I used a credit card to back it, and then I sold a bunch of expensive games from my game collection to pay myself back, which I've already done. I've already paid myself back, so I'm not out any money. But basically, I will get to go to New York City and be on the set the entire 3 weeks that it's being filmed. But not just be there, I get to actually get my hands dirty and basically kind of take, even though I'm not technically an executive producer, I get to have that title and I get to help with all aspects of the movie. So in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be able to be in production meetings. I think I get to see the script ahead of time at some point. So I'm going to be involved in the process all the way through. So it's going to be similar to the Game Chasers experience, except a lot more involved.
Yeah.
Because this time around, I said to myself, I want to do it again. I want to have the experience again, but bigger and better and more. So the way I'm looking at it is it's going to be another learning experience for me. It's going to give me the opportunity to get some really good hands-on experience with some professionals and experts in the field and make some connections too. I'll be able to make a lot of connections. Maybe get my foot in the door in some way. But I mean, even if that doesn't happen, it will still be a learning experience and I'll walk away from it with a lot of knowledge. Because, dude, even just being on the set of the Game Chasers movie for 4 days, I was literally observing everything. I was taking in so much information. And just being on that set for 4 days, I learned so much that I never knew. And so a lot of that stuff I've actually been applying to my YouTube videos. A lot of stuff I learned on the set of the Game Chasers movie, and I'm going to be applying to my filmmaking. So I wanted that experience again. And unfortunately, unless you're in the industry, which I'm not in the industry yet, but unless you're in the industry, it's hard to have that experience unless you do something like nowadays, be able to back a Kickstarter and fund the movie and kind of get your foot in the door and get into that experience. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now the movie was supposed to start filming in November, but it was delayed. So they're not going to be filming till spring of next year. And it's because of the virus. It's getting bad in New York City again. And to be quite honest, I'm glad it was delayed. I would much rather go to New York City in the spring instead of November because it's going to be cold. And plus we're in the middle of the virus. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on there, man.
See, that's awesome. That is awesome. And Crystal, welcome back.
Hey, Crystal.
But yeah, I mean, I love the fact that this movie has inspired you to do this.
Yes.
I don't know. It's one of those things where that's, it's kind of what you hope for, is that you hope that you have an effect.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you can have a positive effect on the world around you, I mean, that's a pretty special thing.
It is.
So I love the fact that you're doing this and you're gonna even pay it forward. You know what I mean? You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
hopefully maybe inspire somebody else, and then it
Mm-hmm.
just kind of keeps going and going and going.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's awesome. Oh, I
Yeah.
know. I cannot wait to hear, because I guess what's interesting to me is, you hear the almost like the stereotypical, the New Yorkers and Texans and how different they all are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if you have a much different, if they have, do they have attitudes on set? Are they
Yeah.
going to be
See.
all like stuck up and like, don't talk to me because I'm
Right.
the gaffer,
Right. Well.
or, or are they going
Yeah.
to be more down to earth like the Texans were?
Yeah. And I think for this, I'm sure there's going to be some people that live in New York City that work on that movie, but I think a lot of people are going to be from other parts of the country. So it may not necessarily be all New York natives. But yeah, I mean, people in New York City have a slightly different mindset because it's a very busy, frantic place to live. Everybody is trying to get somewhere on time, and they're fast paced. So I'm
Yeah.
sure it's going to be a different experience. I fully expect it to be a different experience. But one thing that I'm going to do to, what Jim was saying, that he can't wait to hear me, my tale of being on set. One thing that I'm going to do that I wish I had done for the 4 days that I was on the set of the Game Changers movie, every night when I go back to my Airbnb or wherever I'm staying in New York City, I'm going to hop on a Zoom call with Wolffellow, my partner on the YouTube channel, and I'm going to recount my day basically and record it. And I'm going to save all those. That way I have a point of reference so that I can remember everything.
Yep.
So that eventually, once the movie is released and I can talk about stuff in detail, I can go back to those videos and pull those memories back. Cause so you can't remember everything. I mean, you were,
Right.
you were on that set pretty much the whole time, and I'm sure it all blurs together and it's really hard to
The whole
remember
time.
everything. Right. The whole time. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to do sort of like a video diary. I'm not going to share it because I won't be able to because of NDAs,
Sure.
obviously. Um, as a matter of fact, I may have to just record it on my own. It may be breaking NDA if I bring Wolffellow on the Zoom. So I'm actually not going to do that, Wolffellow. Sorry. Uh, anyways, so yeah, I'm going to do that. That way I can remember everything and be able to share my experiences in more detail when I'm able to.
Well, it's kind of funny that you say that because, I mean, I was instinctively, in a way, already doing something like that with
Yeah.
my audio because I was already doing it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's something I'd been doing for years. Seriously, since like 2007, 2008, I was doing these little car shows. I called them mini shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just, whatever was going on. Yeah, I wanted to talk about a movie. I wanted to talk about some crazy lady driving next to me, whatever. So I was already used to doing that. So it was really kind of cool. But on top of that, I was the script supervisor. I
Right.
knew what was shot on every single day and how it all transpired. If I ever want to go back in my brain and remember, all I got to do is pull up my notes.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's a good point.
it's really kind of weird how my job on set actually is going to help me remember how it all went down.
Yeah.
But no, I'm like super excited. And did you see that? Said Crystal said that she's trying to get her her to go for her bachelor's degree in film.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is very inspirational.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's something that I wish that I had done like Crystal's doing. I wish
Yeah.
I mean, going to film school, you learn a lot from that. Billy went to film school. Tyler, that wrote and directed the Reset movie, he went to film school. So it's definitely beneficial, and I wish that I had done that because I do have I have a bachelor's degree in business management. And I'm working on a second one in software development just because it helps me at my current job, and I'm also going to use it for some other things I'm going to pursue. But yeah, I wish I had went to film school because you can learn a lot from that. But I do think at the end of the day, the most important or the best way to learn, and this applies to anything, is to just get your hands dirty. Hands-on experience is without a doubt the best way to learn.
Well, just think about this. I don't know about you, but we had driver's ed,
Mm-hmm.
and you're sitting there reading about driving,
Oh, yeah.
and you don't. Yeah, some of that may be helpful,
Right.
but you don't really start learning until you get in that car and start driving.
True.
It's the
Hmm.
same thing here. You're exactly right. It's applicable to life.
Yes.
Anything like, for me, it's just like everybody's a different learner. Somebody's a visual learner, or
Hmm.
they learn by listening. This is
Hmm.
how I would learn. Like if I was working at a job, I'd say, okay, do me a favor, just do it for me once. Let me see
Yep.
you do it. Then you watch me do it,
Yep.
and just point me in the right direction. Let me screw up,
Hmm.
because the greatest teacher failure is, as Yoda very wisely said. That's how I learn. And that's
Yeah.
how I like in my job, no matter what I do, my goal is to be indispensable.
Same here.
I don't want, like, if I'm not there, yeah, you might replace me, but you're going to miss me.
Hmm.
And that's what I want from my job. And
Yep.
I think that's how I've you know, that's how I've gotten to where I am today.
Hmm. I'm
Making no
exactly
money
the same way.
on a Twitch channel. No, but that I
Yeah.
mean it's one of those things where it's how I've been able to do what I do.
Yes.
And I've learned a lot from it, and I appreciate that process. But
Yeah.
kinesthetic learning, apparently.
Kinesthetic. Interesting.
Um See, that's one of those things too. I never learned the terms for anything. I just
Right.
learned what it does.
Yep.
That's more important. The name of it doesn't matter. At least for
Right.
me. But
Yeah. I mean, it matters if you have to speak the lingo, you know what I mean, to somebody,
right.
but as far as learning, it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter.
It's like I know what a synonym and antonym are,
Right.
but I have to sit and think about which one's actually which.
Yeah.
I don't know. Rob
Rob
is
is
a
a
doohickey
doohickey.
guy. Yes. Yeah. You put that thing there, and then
Hmm.
the whole. In fact,
Hmm.
what's kind of funny, my dad's that way too. I don't
Yeah.
remember what he used to say. It was something when he was working on, as dads do, they'll have to work on a car, and he would say things like that, where it was like,
Hmm.
you know, I remember there was one, it was a puddling rod. It's
Hmm.
like that's not even a thing. Uh, so let me ask you this. I mean, I think you've inspired the. Well, I shouldn't say that. We're not there yet. I don't think you and I are at the point where we're inspiring people yet. At least,
Yeah, probably
I
not.
mean, that's the hope anyway. But anyway,
Yep.
what would you say to somebody who wants to start their YouTube channel? Like if they say, I've got an idea, I want to start it, what advice would you give them?
Well, the first thing I would say is just do it. I mean, you know, here's the problem a lot of people have. A lot of people say, well, I want to get this and this piece of equipment first, or, I want to make sure I know what I'm doing first. But here's the thing. Not everybody, but a lot of people, when you say that, you're just never going to do it. You're never going to take the first step to get that piece of equipment. You're never going to take the first step to build that knowledge. Not everybody, but a lot of people. So the first thing I would say to do is to just jump in. Get yourself a base level of knowledge first. If you have time, watch a few YouTube videos on like maybe the basics of YouTube and stuff like that. But really, you just got to jump in. You're not going to be great at it at first. There's probably well, I don't want to say, let's say first time YouTubers that have never done a YouTube channel before and it's their first time. I don't think that there's anybody that starts off being really good at it, right? But you just have to jump in. You have to make the mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. Your first few videos are not going to be that great. Like if you go back and watch my first few videos, I mean, they weren't terrible, but they weren't great. The lighting was bad. The video quality is bad. The audio was bad. I had no on-screen presence. I was not energetic at all. I was nervous to be in front of a camera. But over time, so here, let me take a step back again. Sorry. So here's why I say you should just jump in and start doing it, because you're going to get better and better. Over time, you're going to get better and better. And the mindset that I like to tell people to have, because this is the mindset that I had and still have with pretty much everything in life, is that, let's just say with YouTube, right? If you have the mindset of, okay, every video, I'm going to try to improve something, even if it's just tiny. I'm going to try to make small, tiny incremental improvements with each video. Those improvements add up over time. And eventually your videos will be completely different. If you go to my channel and you look at the first couple of videos and you look at some of my more recent videos, you're going to see a night and day difference. And that difference didn't just immediately happen. It was a very incremental progression of getting better and better and better and better and better. And I'm still trying to do that. So that's what I would tell people, is just do it. Don't make excuses. Don't wait on this or that piece of equipment. If you have a smartphone, guess what? You have a camera and a microphone. It's not going to be the greatest, but you have something where you can at least get started, because at the end of the day with YouTube, content is the most important thing. You can worry about improving your production as you go along. You really want to worry about the content first. So I would say to people, get comfortable being in front of a camera first. Try to get comfortable being energetic on camera. And, you know, just jump in, get your hands dirty, make mistakes, learn from those mistakes. Don't be scared. I was terrified when I first started. I was nervous as hell. I was terrified how people would respond to it. You know what I mean? And it's the same with any kind of creative endeavor. You're going to be scared of how people are going to respond to it. Are people going to like it? You know what I mean? It's just part of the process, but you can't let that stuff stop you from taking the plunge, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I agree with everything you said. In fact, Jim and I, we talked about that very thing.
Yeah.
And hashtag get better every day. Because it's one of those things where you can apply that same philosophy to life, to everything. Exactly. And that's one of those things, is those universal truths. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just like when you're working out, you know, let's say if you're going to do some Taekwondo, you're not going to start kicking a foot above your head. You're going to slowly, and that's the thing. It's, you just get a little better every day.
Yes.
And it's just one of those things that I think, well, yeah, hashtag be water. Yes. But it's one of those things where it just, you can apply these things, and it's, they're universal truths. That's awesome stuff. And Crystal, right. you said any tips when it comes to capturing moments on camera that can only be taken on, like on one take usually? It depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking video, multiple angles.
Yeah.
Right? And then if it's, I'll tell you this. I was taking some shots of the planes flying around yesterday. And I was messing with my camera, and I'm like, isn't there a just hold it down and it takes a bunch of shit, you know, bunch of photos, bunch of shots, like all at the same time? And I was like, oh yeah, it's continuous. So I put it on continuous, and I'll tell you, I took like 100 photos, and 6 of them came out great. But those other ones, if I hadn't taken them, I might not have gotten that perfect shot in that sequence.
That's true.
So I think it's the same thing. So universal truth. Just use your, you know, all the footage, multiple angles.
Yeah. Yeah, that can help.
It's not a universal truth.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, multiple angles can definitely help if you want to hide jump cuts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you want to completely mask jump cuts, that's a great way to do it.
Well, and like, if you notice, and that's one of those things where the more you, again, it's just like you said, just kind of get in there and do it.
Yes.
Even if it's, you know, setting up a tripod, and I want to film some car stuff. So put it on the corner, hopefully a you know, maybe a farm road or something like that, and drive past the camera. And then you start to get to, okay, I'm going to do 2 cameras, do the same thing, and then edit those together and see. And it's because it's funny when you watch a lot of movies, especially movies from, like, I noticed this in like the 70s and 80s. When there's like a car crash, it's almost like, here's this angle, then we're going to show it the other angle. The whole crash sequence. They won't just like let's say the car hits a ramp. Here, I'm gonna do it over here. Car hits a ramp and it turns like this, and then it keeps flipping over. They don't just, they'll cut like this, and then you'll see it from another angle do the whole motion again, and then sometimes the whole motion again, and they'll do it's the more angles you have, the better.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but that's not something that, I mean, we didn't film a whole lot of, I gotta be honest, we didn't film a whole lot of, those kinds of scenes, but that's always something that's, if it's only gonna happen once, that's the only way you can do it, is hopefully have as many angles as possible. Now,
that is true.
Depending on your budget, that can be expensive. But yeah. Well, I mean, that's just my. I'm literally talking from watching a bunch of movies and watching how they make them. Right. I haven't personally experienced a whole lot of that.
Do you mind if I plug one video real quick that I think will help people?
Of course.
I recently did a very detailed behind the scenes video on my channel where I go through my entire process from beginning to end on how I make a video. It's like a 47-minute long video, but it's because I go into a lot of detail and I start from beginning to end. So if anybody's interested in, if maybe you don't have a YouTube channel or you do have one and you want to kind of learn more about it, I highly recommend watching that behind the scenes video because people are responding pretty good to it. I put a lot of work into it. Tried to make it. I didn't put production values into the behind the scenes video itself. I just filmed it with my cell phone camera with just my above lights. But the purpose of it was to show how I make a video, and it might, there might be some good information in there. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but I have learned a lot over the last almost 2 years of doing YouTube and getting into filmmaking, and some of that may help people out a little bit.
Yeah. And I just put your channel there, and Crystal said she's going to watch it. So yeah.
Awesome, Crystal. When you watch it, throw a comment. Let me know what you think about it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's one of those things where even if, that's funny, Jim.
Well, yeah, I do in the video, I do mention several times that, because in the video, I have a lot of expensive equipment. So several times throughout the video, I pound into people's head, you do not have to have expensive equipment like this to make a YouTube video, because I don't want people to think that.
Yeah.
So I do say that a lot in the video, just so people know you don't have to buy a $2,000 camera. You know what I mean?
And and here's what's funny too, is that like, I've had to do that same sort of thing myself. I have to say, okay, I have a mic and a mic stand, or a mic thing. Do I need the same mic and mic stand that Joe Rogan uses?
Right.
No, this sounds great.
It does. It sounds really good.
And this was a $20 Chinese mic 4 years ago.
Nice.
This stand was like $14 on Amazon, like a Neewer or whatever that cheap stuff. My lighting is cheap Neewer lights.
Is that how you pronounce that? I've always said newer, but I guess Neewer.
Neewer. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna start saying Neewer.
But yeah, I have blank. You do not need blank.
Yeah.
But what it is though is you start to realize that the average viewer doesn't give a crap what your lighting looks like. They only care. The content is king.
It is, yeah.
So that's what it is have something to say. I've always said newer, and you're still, you know what, Jim, you stick with that, buddy.
I'm going to say newer because it's funner. It's more enjoyable to say newer.
I was just phonetically saying it.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. NEE.
But that's what I mean. That's the thing. It's like, I also thought that to stream games, this was, 3 years ago, whenever it was, when I had a small fledgling gaming channel. You sub to his channel. See, look.
Hey, thanks, Crystal. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome. But it was Rob the Idiot. By the way, if you see me on other like chats and stuff, I always log in with my old thing, because I don't want to be the focus.
Right.
And I don't know if that's weird or not, but it's like I'll go into Beat 'em Up stream or Game Dave stream, and I'll say Rob the Idiot. And it'll be Rob the Idiot, not Order 42 show, because I don't want the focus to be on me. It should be on, you know what I mean? Is that weird? I feel like that might be weird. It's like, I mean, dude, always promote yourself, always. But I'm like, I don't think it's weird.
I mean,
Well, anyway.
It makes sense.
So just in case, say hi if you see me in there.
Mm-hmm.
Always say, yeah, that's me. That is me, Rob the Idiot. And then I think on YouTube I'm just Rob Michaels. It's just, I think it's just that's all it is. But yeah, Rob the Idiot is me. But anyway, I don't even remember where I was going with that.
I don't either. I'm sure it was somewhere though.
Hey, that's the beauty of this channel. We can just,
Yeah.
you know, we just lose the whole thing. Now, I want to ask you about this, and you can tell me as much or as little as you want because I'm sure you're going to make a video on it.
Okay.
But what is your experience so far with the Quest 2? The Oculus Quest 2.
Dude. Okay, so I probably won't make a video on it just because VR stuff doesn't really fit in my channel with my audience. But I will say this, I am really enjoying the Quest 2 so far. I know some people I don't think it's widespread, but I know some people are having some kind of issue where they get locked out of it or something like that. I haven't had that issue. It's been a smooth experience for me. And I actually, as soon as I got the headset, I downloaded a new game that recently came out called Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Dude, that is an amazing VR experience. But so far, I really like the Quest 2. Now, I did buy a new strap to go with it. I'm not using the strap that came with it. I bought a more comfortable one, but it also has a built-in battery to extend the battery life.
I have it too.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's great so far.
Yeah, and did you have the Quest 1?
What the heck? Yeah, I did have the Quest 1, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I loved it. I loved the Quest 1.
Not going to say fascist book. Look, the weird thing about that whole deal is, and I don't think I've mentioned this to you, but I've definitely mentioned it on this channel. Facebook is like the place where bad ideas go. And it's
true.
It's like the rough draft of bad ideas is what Facebook is like most of the time for me. Because I have, well, let's just say a lot of my family, I live in Texas. Some of my family is very right-wing, which I guess would be over on this side, stage left or stage right. And most of my friends and people that worked on the movie, they're on the other side. So I'm constantly being it's just like, ugh. So needless to say, I don't spend a whole lot of time on Facebook. I don't care that it links to Facebook because I'm not going to do anything on Facebook. So I don't know. Yeah. I get why people wouldn't want to do it, but I did it. I mean, not to say that that's the smartest thing to do, but
at the end of the day, it's just Facebook trying to get more users on their social media platform is really what it all boils down to, so that they can make more money on, ad revenue and stuff like that. But it is kind of dumb that you have to link it. But again, just like you, I don't really care. It's whatever. I hate Facebook. I barely use it. The only thing I use Facebook for these days is the Facebook Marketplace to look for games. And I have a RetroWolf88 Facebook group, but honestly, that group, it's like crickets. It's almost impossible to get anybody to say anything in that group. So yeah, Facebook, I've never really cared for Facebook at all. And plus, it's the least user-friendly, most convoluted social media platform out there. It's so damn complicated to figure anything out. It's like iTunes was back in the day when Apple iTunes, that program just got more and more convoluted and less user-friendly as time went on. It kind of reminds me of that. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I'm not going to let it stop me from having awesome VR experiences because I am having awesome VR experiences with Oculus. And look, let's be honest. Facebook is they're handling Oculus really well. They're continuing to improve the technology.
Yeah.
There's a lot of amazing games releasing on the platform. I mean, in my opinion, I think the Quest is the best VR headset out there because of the fact that it's completely wireless. It's easy to use. The controllers are fantastic, so much better than the PlayStation VR controllers. And You know,
Yeah.
it's their Facebook. As much as I hate Facebook, they're the ones really trying to push VR technology and get it more mainstream. And VR needs to get more mainstream so that there's more competition. The more competition there is, the more the technology is going to continue to evolve and get better and better. And I want VR to get better and better because it's it it will never replace traditional gaming for me, but it is a fun other type of gaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you tried the Vader Immortal yet?
Dude, I love it. I've only played episode 1. I need to play
Oh, it
2
gets
and 3.
better.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I will just say this. If you have never had a VR headset before,
Mm-hmm.
this is a no-brainer. Get it.
Oh yeah. And Beat
It's
Saber.
it's awesome. Now, if you have the Quest 1,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it depends on what you think of that. But for me, of course it's lighter.
Yeah,
The visuals are better, like the actual screen's better.
it is.
I don't know if it's a higher refresh rate, but
It is.
I feel like I'm lighter. It's like the whole thing is I'm lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And lighter like because you're wearing this thing, and did you try it before the battery pack came in?
I didn't actually. Does it? But I heard somebody say it makes it balance better on your head.
Yes, because when I first got it, because my the battery pack was sort of back ordered or whatever. So
yeah.
I put it on and I'm trying it, and I'm like, man, this is so light. But then after I was done, my neck hurt because I mean, not bad, just enough to where I was like, I noticed that I had been wearing a headset for an hour and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
Then when I put the battery pack on, everything's balanced out and it just feels better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome. You should totally maybe look into it if you're interested in VR. And it's again, like you said, it's the cheapest point of entry VR wise, and the technology is amazing where if you have a VR ready computer, you can wirelessly transmit PC level games to that.
Well,
Now, I haven't done that yet, but
you do have to use a USB cable for that. It's a link cable that you buy that links to your PC.
but there's that software that allows you to do it wirelessly
Really?
with very little lag. Now,
Really?
there's a lot of things that you have to kind of set up. Like I know that you have to have your Wi-Fi has to be at a point
Yeah.
where it can transmit that.
Yeah.
Because of the lag and all that.
Right.
But I mean, it's awesome. Even with a cable coming out the back, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know? I mean, it really is. It's great.
Yeah.
I'll probably go into it more as I go along. I've only tried like 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tried Vader, because I have Vader Immortal, I have Beat Saber, and I have that one. It's like the one with you're shooting robots and stuff. That's fun.
Robo Recall.
Yep, that's it.
Yep, that's a fun game.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, and I've heard that Walking Dead is amazing. I just haven't.
Dude, it is something else. It's something else, and it's a full game too. It's like an 18-hour campaign to play through it, because most VR games are really short, like a couple hours. This is a full feature game.
Huh.
So yeah, it's something else.
I guess I just didn't realize it was that long. I knew it was a larger than normal VR game, but I didn't know it was 18 hours. Wow.
Yeah, I think it's like 15 to 18 hours is the average playthrough.
And see, I want to try Alex.
I wish that was on the Quest. I bet they do it eventually.
Yeah.
I bet they bring it over.
I'm really wanting to play that one because that looked. I don't know if you've like watched Jacksepticeye play that, but
no.
Yeah, or anybody. I guess anybody. I shouldn't just say Jacksepticeye, but he's my favorite. So
it does look amazing.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that. But I don't know. I was just curious because I'm sitting here going, "This is the best VR I've ever seen," and I love the setup. The setup's so easy.
It was, yeah.
You know, where you're basically drawing on the ground to make your little play area. It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's
so
fun.
Find somebody who has one and try it, and then go buy one.
It's funny that you brought it up, because last night after I filmed the interview at my friend's house, he had never experienced VR before, so I let him try it on the Oculus Quest 2. I let him play Beat Saber, Pistol Whip, and the First Steps program that teaches you how to use it.
Right.
And dude, he loved it. Like, he texted me later that night and he said, "Now I want a VR headset."
Yeah, and I just know that because I have a PSVR,
Hmm.
and it's got that screen door effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then even the Quest to a certain extent had that,
Hmm.
but I don't know. Maybe it was I don't remember what they call the thing where the eyes, however close your eyes,
Yeah.
closer together or further apart, and anyway, the first Quest, I would always have a like eye strain
Yeah. Me too.
after the first whatever. This one, I
Hmm.
don't have it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the quality of the screen.
Hmm.
I don't know what the deal is. I just know
Yeah.
it's really fun. So
Yeah. Yep. I love it.
yeah. So now, and since you're Retro Wolf,
Hmm.
um, what do you think about the? Yeah, I was gonna say, since you're Retro Wolf, you're probably not gonna talk much about the next generation of consoles. But
Right.
I was curious, like from your point of view, like how are you seeing all? I mean, you've seen probably all the news and all the
Oh yeah.
crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on where things are headed right now?
Yeah. So, I think both Sony and Microsoft, they're both doing a lot of things right and some things wrong. Um, Let me start with Sony, right? So Sony, their console is, but both consoles, the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, they're pretty, I mean, the Xbox Series X is a little bit more powerful, but not much. So
Right.
you're not going to notice much of a difference between the power, speed, and performance of each console. At least not yet, until a couple of years down the road, once developers are really good with the hardware, then you may start seeing a slight difference. But as of
Yeah.
right now, you're probably not going to. But Sony, they've always they've always really won in the exclusives department. And that's what really sells a Sony console, is the fact that they have amazing first party exclusive titles. Microsoft, they've always struggled with first party exclusive titles. Well, really more so in the Xbox One era, they really struggled with first party exclusives.
Yep.
Xbox 360, original Xbox, they actually had a decent amount of exclusives, but Xbox One, they kind of dropped the ball there. And that's part of the reason why Sony absolutely crushed them sales wise, is because at the end of the day, games, that's what sells a console. Games, exclusive games that you can't get on other consoles. That is really the main thing, in my opinion, that sells a console. With the PlayStation 5, Sony kind of dropped the ball because they didn't add backwards compatibility. It's there's In my mind, there's absolutely no reason that they can't add the technology to that console where you could put in a PlayStation 1 disc, a PlayStation 2 disc, PlayStation 3 disc, and be able to play those games. But you can't. It's going to be backwards compatible with PS4 games, which they damn well better do that, but not anything earlier than that. And, at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal. But the thing about it is, Microsoft with the Xbox Series S and X, they are allowing most titles to be backwards compatible, where you can just pop in the disc and it will install the game and you can play it, right? So Microsoft, they kind of win on Sony on that front. Um, it's going to be a very interesting next generation, because Microsoft, they have been buying a lot of game studios. Most recently, they acquired ZeniMax, which is the parent company for Bethesda. So Microsoft now owns Bethesda, and that is a huge deal, because Bethesda puts out, in my opinion, I know some people don't agree with this, but in my opinion, Bethesda puts out some of the best games. Sure, a lot of them are buggy, but they put out amazing games. Doom, the Elder Scrolls series, the Fallout series, the Dishonored series, Prey. There's just so many amazing game series that comes out of Bethesda, and now Microsoft owns them now. So now all of a sudden, Microsoft's first party potential is looking really good, where they may be able to actually compete with Sony on a first party potential. Now, The one thing that Microsoft is doing really well that I think is going to potentially give them a leg up in this next coming generation is two things. They have a much cheaper model, the Xbox Series S, which is $300, which is just insane to get something like that for $300. And then, of course, they got the more expensive model, the Series X. And yeah, I know Sony has their digital only console for 400, but there's a big difference between 400 and 300 in the eyes of the everyday consumer, right? But one thing that Microsoft is doing really well is Game Pass. Game Pass, for those of you that don't know, it's basically Microsoft's version of, let's say, the Netflix for gaming. And it's like $10 a month. And it's an amazing freaking deal. It is one of the best deals in gaming because you get access to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games that you can download and play on your console as much as you want for just the price of a monthly subscription. For people that maybe can't afford to buy $60, $70 games, that's a fantastic deal, man. It enables, if you pair that with the $300 Microsoft Xbox Series S with Game Pass, that is an amazing deal for people that maybe can't afford more expensive consoles and can't afford to buy full price games on a regular basis. That's a freaking amazing deal. And Microsoft's going to be adding Bethesda games to Game Pass. So it's going to be, what I'm trying to say is it's going to be a very interesting generation. There was a time when I would say Sony, the PS5 is just going to crush. I mean, it's just going to crush. There's no doubt about it. But now I'm kind of wondering, you know what I mean? I'm kind of thinking it might be a more even race this time around.
Yeah, I agree. And Crystal, really quick, I do want to say that this is always stored on Twitch for 14 days. And then after the 14 days, I put it up on YouTube. So basically, it's always available. Twitch has a thing where you can't put up your Twitch stream as an affiliate. You can't put up your Twitch stream on YouTube until at least 24 hours later. I just wait the 2 weeks when it expires and put it up there just so that there's no question. You know, I mean, it's just the way I like to do it. But yeah, it will be on here, and I'll actually tweet it out later, the replay, if people missed it. So if you're here from the replay, hi. But yeah, so that's the one thing that I do there. Now, when it comes to this race, I think you're absolutely right. Xbox or Microsoft is doing some moves that I think is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's like, who saw that coming?
I didn't.
But you look at the way that it's almost the way that they're marketing everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, to me, we don't even care if you buy the system. Just get on Game Pass.
Exactly.
In which case, it kind of makes you think, will they even keep those Bethesda games, those id games? Mm-hmm. Will they keep those as exclusives, or will they just put it on Game Pass and that's the only way you can play them?
Right.
So if you have a PC, you can still play these games.
Yeah.
It's weird how it's definitely not the system that's their most important thing.
Right.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, I have to agree with you. I think content is always king.
It is.
But I also don't want Microsoft to kind of go the Netflix route in that quantity over quality.
Right. Well, I will say this. When I browse Game Pass, to be honest, I mostly see quality. When I browse through Game Pass, I see a lot of really damn good games. First party, third party, indie games. And it's a good variety. You know, and not everything on there, not every game on there is going to be amazing, but they do seem to be curating, at least right now, they seem to be curating their games very well. Now, will that continue in the future? You know, it's hard to say. I think it will, because I think that Microsoft, I think they want to make sure that the service is very well curated. You know, I don't think they want it to turn into something like Steam, where you've got just garbage being uploaded to Steam, garbage games all the time being uploaded to Steam and flooding the market. So I feel like they're going to be a little bit more mindful of that. But look, for me, at the end of the day, I don't, you know, it's fun to talk about this stuff, but like I don't get into the whole console wars shit because I just love video games. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if I can, if I'm able to, I buy all the consoles, I play all the consoles, and I support them all because it's good for them all to be healthy because that competition is important. With any business, competition is important. You don't want somebody to have a monopoly like freaking Google has a monopoly on video platforms with YouTube right now. They don't have any real competitors for a video service like that. And because of that, YouTube can pretty much do what the hell they want and screw people over all the time. And they do. There's a lot of bad stuff that YouTube does, and it's because they don't have competition, so they don't really have to worry about anything. And that's
Yeah.
not good. That's not good. There always needs to be healthy competition in any business, any type of business, or you know what I mean. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, I just like playing games and being entertained and having fun. So I try to stay away from some of the more negative shit that goes on, like on Twitter and the console war thing. But like me and you, we're not being negative. We're having a good, rational conversation about the pros and cons of each console and kind of where how the race might look going forward. But a lot of people, dude, you get on Twitter and you start talking to some random people on Twitter about this stuff, man, it just devolves into madness.
No. Yeah. Well, it's just like, you know, PC Master Race versus Mac,
Yeah.
or iPhone versus Android, or
Right.
I don't care what you use.
Right.
I just don't care. And the one thing that I will say that's really started to irritate me, because I am an Apple guy. I love
Mm-hmm.
Apple stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of integrated Apple stuff in my house. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I love the fact that I can be on my iPad in my living room. My wife's watching something. I think of something I want to do on the show. I can write a note on my iPad and it immediately is saved right here on my
Pretty
computer.
nice. Yeah.
I love the fact that if I'm out and about, I can do the exact same thing. If I'm waiting in line somewhere and
Mm-hmm.
I have a thought and I go, I need to talk about this on the next show, I can write that note and it's
Mm-hmm.
automatically. I mean, yes, there's Evernote, there's all of these things that are on PC, on Android. They do similar things, but not quite like this. It's not built
Right.
in. You
Mm-hmm.
like I don't even have to think about it. It just happens. I
Mm-hmm.
love it, and that's one of those things that it's just. But the thing is I don't go, well, I don't even have to think about it. I don't even get
Right.
into the conversation.
Right.
I feel it's weird that there's so many people that are big into Android that can't
Mm-hmm.
quit talking about Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you talking about Apple? It's something you don't even care about, but you keep
Right.
beating it down. Why?
Right.
It's because you aren't comfortable where you are and you have to beat somebody else down. It's the
Mm-hmm.
way the internet works right now. No
Yeah.
matter
You're right.
what side of any topic you're on, you have to tear down the other person to feel good
Mm-hmm.
about your own position.
And that kind of stuff pisses me off so bad, man.
So, but see, that's the weird thing. Yeah, they're trying to convince me to switch to iPhone. Android girl here, you love both though. Yeah, I'm just kind of like, you know what I do? I go, hey, look at what my new phone can do. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still amazed that it's kind of like, look, it's kind of one of those things you can't say Louis C.K. without people getting pissed at you for saying Louis C.K. But
Yeah.
the guy who makes me laugh sometimes.
I mean, look, yeah,
But the thing that he was saying real quick.
Mm-hmm.
He said, do you realize that you're talking to space?
right.
It's like, who cares what you're using? But anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
This whole, I'm going to be honest, man, and this might be a controversial statement, but this whole notion of, when you brought up Louis C.K., it made me think about this, and I just had to get this thought out. This whole notion of you shouldn't watch this person's stuff or do this person's stuff because of they did X terrible thing. Look, okay, so let's take Kevin Spacey as an example, right?
Okay.
You know everything that happened with him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know
Does that
more than I
change
want to know. But anyway,
right?
yes.
But does that change the fact that the guy is an amazing actor? No,
No.
it doesn't. It doesn't change the fact that he's an amazing actor. I think Tom Cruise is a weird freaking guy. I think Scientology is weird. I'm sorry if that offends anybody. I think Scientology is weird. I'm not gonna like people can believe what they want. I'm not gonna bash people for believing in Scientology, but I personally think it's a little bizarre. But does that change the fact that Tom Cruise isn't freaking amazing at doing his own stunts? No. So well, like you said with Louis C.K., does that mean that you can't enjoy his stand-up comedy or laugh at his stand-up comedy? No.
Well, and
I
it's
don't know.
it's it's kind of like what I don't know if you saw Bill Burr's Saturday Night Live.
Mm.
His do you know who Bill Burr is?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he hosted Saturday Night Live like 2 weeks ago, I think, or a week ago, whenever
Right.
it was, and his monologue was it ruffled some feathers. I'll just
I
say
bet
that it
he
cracked
likes
me
doing
up.
that.
It cracked me up.
Hmm.
And there's a part where he talks about, I'm not going to go into it because
Hmm.
I can't do it justice anyway, but he talks about white women.
Hmm.
And it was so funny seeing Twitter go insane.
Hmm.
And you can tell the people that can take a joke and
Right.
realize that, hey, this is a joke,
Right.
and the people that feel like everything has to be coddled for them. And it
Hmm.
was so funny to see that. And then my wife comes in. She goes, "What are you watching?" I said, "Just watch this monologue and see what you
Hmm.
think." She's cracking up. And they're talking
Yeah.
about, I mean, my wife's white.
Right.
And she was cracking up. So it was one of those things where it's like, I think it really has to do with the way you view the world and all that. But
Hmm.
the internet, it just feels like, and I talked about this a few weeks ago, where it just feels like everybody is like, it's me versus the world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that way. You can have a disagreement with somebody and then,
Hmm.
go have dinner
Right. Exactly.
or, go watch a movie together or whatever.
Hmm.
Or whatever,
Hmm.
kids like doing these days. I'm too old for a lot of that. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't
Oh yeah.
understand. Why does everything have to be a fight?
Look, I'll say this, man. And the internet, social media, there have been a lot of great things that have come out of the internet and social media, right? A
Yeah.
lot of great things. I mean, it really changed the world in some good ways. But at the same time, there's been some really bad shit that have come out of the internet and social media. And two of the things that comes to my mind, number one is the fact that nobody can respect other people's opinions, and instead of having a rational, logical adult conversation about something, people just launch onto the attack, and nobody can respect anybody's opinion. If I don't agree with your opinion, you're a shitty, terrible person, and I need to just beat you down into the ground for your opinion. That drives me nuts. So that's one of the bad things that have come out of social media and the internet, that I feel like back in the day when the internet and social media wasn't as big, I don't feel like that was as much of an issue. I feel like a lot of people were able to respect other people's opinions better. Now, the second thing, and quite possibly the worst thing that I've ever seen in my life come out of the internet and
I feel
social
like you're
media,
getting riled up here. I like it.
that I am getting riled up because it pisses me off, is freaking cancel culture and people getting so offended by every little damn thing. And here's the thing about it, Rob. I know I would be willing to bet money on it, man. That a lot that
See you,
the
Crystal.
oh yeah, see you, Crystal. Good luck with your interview. I would be willing to bet money that these people that get into this whole cancel culture phenomenon, and these people that get so offended by every little thing, it's the vocal minority of people. I feel like 90% of people out there do not give a damn. They don't get offended. They don't care about canceling people. Unfortunately, online, this vocal minority has the loudest voice, and it blows up and it goes viral. Corporations and businesses freak out and they get scared because they think they're going to lose customers. And it's just causing so many problems, dude. This cancel culture shit, it's ruining people's lives. It's ruining people's lives that didn't even do anything wrong. But people are perceiving that they did something wrong, or they,
Oh,
you know,
see you, Eagle Ford. Good to see you guys.
but yeah, man, it's just cancel culture. pisses me off. I can't stand it with a passion because it's ruining people's lives. It's making people feel like they got to walk on eggshells. It's affecting stand-up comedy, dude. Stand-up comics, there's a lot of stand-up comics that are they're afraid to make certain jokes in their stand-up comedy because they're afraid they're going to get canceled. Stand-up comedy should be exempt from this shit. You know what I mean? Comedy is supposed to be, most comedy is supposed to be dark. I mean, if you look, like,
Jim's got it, I think. Yeah.
people should be held
Oh, he
accountable
just
for
said
their
he
words.
just said should they be held accountable for their words and actions? Absolutely. Should they be robbed of their entire lives over it? In the vast majority of cases, hell
No,
no.
no, because people make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
People say things they regret. You know what I mean? But should their lives be completely ruined over it?
No.
No. I mean, they should learn from it and fix that mistake going forward. But nowadays, you have to walk on eggshells because you make one mistake, and there's a chance that the freaking internet could pull their pitchforks out and come after you and just completely ruin you for just an honest, simple mistake that you made. So in one aspect, that makes doing YouTube kind of scary, and podcasts and live shows kind of scary
Right.
because, I mean, you never know when somebody might take something you said the wrong way and pull their pitchforks out. So I don't know, just the whole thing just drives me
I think
crazy,
you
man.
know it's funny because I'm kind of a armchair sociologist
Mm-hmm.
in a weird way, psychologist, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, my college years were very interesting because I took philosophy, sociology, and psychology. So it's one of those things where Rob knows that my hard drives could ruin my reputation if you took some shit out of context. Yeah, but again, there's in this current age, there's got to be a path to redemption. Number one, there's always got to be a path to redemption, and if there isn't, who's making that decision?
Right.
And then, so that's number one. Number two, I've thought a lot about this, and how did we? Because it's one of the things that I love about doing this show. It's how did you get here?
Yes.
How did we get to this point? You think about it. I feel like it started participation trophies.
Oh man, yeah.
And then when a little further down the road, you heard these stories about college campuses
Mm-hmm.
being upset about a comedian or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that there needs to be a safe space, right?
What?
Then those kids get out of college and now they're out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they've taught that, oh, so you're telling me that the whole world should narrow the view to fit me.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how a lot of this shit has started.
Yeah.
And am I saying, is it wrong? Is it wrong to want to feel like there's a place where you can, be yourself and all that? Of course. Mm-hmm. But you can't push that on other people. And yeah, there you go. Social media has just amplified everyone's ego. And I've said that for years. I said that the internet is a wondrous place, and it's absolutely the cesspool of everything bad and regretful. It's like it's all of those things at once. Mm-hmm. And I've also said before, the internet is beautiful because it gives everyone a voice, and the internet is also the worst thing ever because it's given everyone a voice. It can need those two things at once.
Right.
Now, a lot of people would say, well, you know what? Some of those people don't deserve a voice. And I'm like, okay, who decides?
Exactly.
And that's the thing. You have to, the hardest part, especially dealing in this day and age, right? It's knowing when to say, all right, I'm just going to step out of this conversation.
Yes.
And I've decided in most conversations, I just don't get involved. It's not worth the energy. I don't have the energy to deal with somebody who's upset at anything I say. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to stay out of it.
I'm the same way, man. There's so many conversations I see on Twitter that, I could jump into, but I don't, because I just don't want to get involved in it, man, because I know nothing productive is going to come out of it. And plus, I am a very optimistic and positive person by nature. I have a very positive attitude about things. I try to stay optimistic in life, even when, even when shit is bad like it is right now with the virus. I still try to keep a very high level of optimism because I just think you're going to be happier and healthier that way. So, I really try to stay away from the negativity, a lot of the negativity that I see online. And I try to, just interact with fellow like-minded people, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, and Jim said we are raising weak people. I feel that.
Oh yeah.
And then he says, yeah, in an age where someone can pull out a damn stress card during boot camp. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things. It's weird how, and I'm not saying we're going to fix all this today or anything.
Right.
Just let's be honest here. It's just from somebody who I sort of feel like, I mean, you've kind of seen what well, no, you have seen. I keep forgetting I did that video.
Mm-hmm.
You have kind of heard a lot about what I've gone through.
Yes.
And I came out of it feeling like I was a different species.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, what are you worried about?
Mm-hmm.
You have your colon, man.
Yep.
And it just got me thinking that it's weird how we love tearing each other down. We love being right.
Mm-hmm.
We hate being wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I might learn something, it's just one of those things that I feel like we just need to step back and go, you know what? We got it pretty good.
Right.
I don't know. I could say a whole lot more that would probably get me into trouble, but it's one of those things where I'm just like, life is better when you're not fighting all the time. I
It
can't
really
wait
is,
for the
man.
elections to be over so we can argue about
God,
Star
dude.
Wars again.
Dude, I do not get involved in any of that.
But if you think about it, it's infiltrated every segment of our society.
Mm-hmm.
You can't like a movie or hate a movie without somebody attacking you.
Yep.
A differing opinion is somehow bad. That's how you learn something, and you come to a common ground. Like Jay the other day, because I love The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I love it. He hates it. And I said, well, I think we both can agree that what they should have done from the beginning is just find the common ground. That's what debate's for.
Mm-hmm.
Debate helps you find common ground with people. And if you get rid of debate and shut people down before they can even make a point, I don't know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, most people these days can't have a logical, rational conversation about things and debate stuff without devolving into, insanity.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's any easy answer to it.
Maybe we should just get off of this conversation because I feel like we're both walking on eggshells right now.
Yeah. It's definitely can ruffle some feathers talking about this kind of stuff.
It's something that I always love. I love talking about the way people interact.
Yeah.
And I love learning about people and learning about, because I mean, I got to be honest, in a lot of ways, I've learned more about people in the last year than I have probably in the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. But I also hate that we can't all get along with stuff. Like I feel like I shouldn't feel weird about talking to somebody of a different race about something,
right,
without the fear of cancel culture. I shouldn't have to worry about that.
Right.
But
You're
anyway.
right.
So let me ask you this. I feel like in a lot of ways, like Billy and Jay and I were, and Jim even, we're all sort of the same age, around the same age. So we kind of have the same influences. We come from a lot of the same backgrounds.
Yeah.
Different parts of the country, of course, but
right,
similar backgrounds. You said that you're like 10 years or more younger than we are.
32.
But you have some of the same influences. You're into the same things. So my my question is, because again, I love my movies.
Mm-hmm.
What were your movies growing up? What were the ones that you enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
watching when you were a kid?
Uh, oh man, this okay. Obviously, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, the Home Alone movies, Adam's Family and Adam's Family Values. Actually, just rewatched those. Those movies hold up even to this day. So freaking funny. Terminator, Die Hard, dude. Just you name a good movie from the 80s and 90s, and even some from the 70s, and that's gonna be on my list. Those are the types of things that I grew up on. VHS, man. My dad had some laser disc. I remember the first time I watched Terminator 2 was actually on Laserdisc, and it was amazing. um, but yeah, I mean, 80s and 90s stuff is what I grew up on. Games, movies, TV shows, all that kind of stuff.
See, it's weird because I guess I find that weird because if I didn't watch those same movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you, because I'm 44.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so born in 76.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch movies from the 70s in my childhood. I just didn't.
Right. Right.
For the most part, I didn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't until, I mean, of course, Jaws and Alien
Mm-hmm.
and the original Superman. For the
Mm-hmm.
most part, I mean, almost all of those movies came out when I remember them going to see them in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
You were watching them on VHS,
Yes.
Laserdisc, things like that.
Yeah.
I just find that interesting that it's just so, to me, that's really interesting
Mm-hmm.
that your childhood and my childhood separated by 12 years can be almost,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, very similar.
It is interesting, and I think for me, one of the things that helped that is, my dad and my grandfather, they had a huge VHS collection. They would record movies that played on TV on the VHS, and so they had like a bunch of bootleg VHSs basically that they recorded themselves, which is kind of funny. So growing up, I had a large selection of movies to choose from. So I was able to watch most of these movies, and obviously I watched a lot of TV as a kid, so I got to catch a lot of these movies on TV too. So yeah, I mean, maybe I just got lucky falling into all that. I don't know.
That's awesome though. I mean, it's just cool. It's just interesting. And plus, it's funny. My brother keeps sending me stuff about, they're talking about an Addams Family remake.
Mm. Oh God.
And it's weird that you said that and he's
Mm-hmm.
around. So wait a minute. You're 32, so that would make you
Mm-hmm.
born 88.
Yep.
He was born in 89.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Nice.
it's weird how you guys are
Mm-hmm.
very similar in a strange kind of way. It's weird. And then Albert says, speaking of positive, listening to you guys during a stressful day at work. Thanks for keeping me company. Much love to everyone. Albert, come on, man. Bring it in. Bring it
That's
in, bud.
awesome.
Come on. No, I love, that's the one thing that I love about this show is that it always
Mm-hmm.
feels like we're just hanging out. We're just having a good time, So
You know what's funny, Rob? Thinking back to my life, man, is most of the people that I've always hung out with and gotten along with have always been like 5 to 10 years older than me.
Hmm.
Like even when I worked at Steak and Shake, back in the day when I worked at Steak and Shake for 7 years, I became closest and best friends with people that were a lot older than me because I've always felt like my mindset has always been a little bit older than my age. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
yeah,
So because of that, I think that enabled me to be able to get along with and fit in with people that were 5, 10 years older than me, as opposed to people that were actually my age.
that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that's awesome. See, I took a personality test in some of those. I mean, let's be honest, some of them are a little shaky, but this one wasn't actually, and it was done for my job.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things that everybody did it, and it was weird. But what was strange is that they were talking about our results,
Mm-hmm.
and we have our results there, and of course nobody else can see them. We're looking at our results, And they're saying, well, you know, if you're in this corner, you're this, and if you're in this corner, you're this, or whatever. And I said, and I was like, what does this mean when you're in the middle?
Right.
And he goes, that means that you're Winnie the Pooh. You get along with everybody. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, I do get along with everybody. Like it's like I rarely make enemies. Now watch, I'm gonna dislike your video. But no, for the most part, I mean, I just get along with everybody.
Yeah.
And it can be, it's been that way with everything. Older people, children love me. I don't know why. I don't have kids. They love me. Pets, animals, any kind of animal, zebras. Like I remember we went, you know, those things, I don't know if you have these there, but here it's like a thing, where you drive through a wildlife park type thing. And, you know, animals come to the window and you feed them or whatever. There was this zebra that for some reason fell in love with me. And it was weird. He stuck his, and you know, I'm feeding him or whatever, and he's just looking at me. And then he comes in and is just rubbing his face along mine, and I'm like, what is going on? What is this thing doing? And they're like, that means he really likes you. And we started driving off, and he ran off, and we're like, what? And he comes in and he does it again. It's like it's a weird, I don't know if it's a weird spiritual thing. I don't know what it is.
That's fascinating.
But apparently I'm Winnie the Pooh. So,
you know, it's funny that you say that. And man, the more you say, the more I realize that me and you are a lot alike in many different ways, because I'm the same way, dude. I've always been able to get along with just about anybody and have a conversation with just about anybody. And it's weird because I'm a total introvert, dude. I'm a introverted person. I am perfectly happy staying at home, being a hermit. But at the same time, I do still have the ability to get along with anybody. I've never had any trouble getting along with people of different races, ethnicities, sexual orientations, different age groups. I can get along with anybody and work with anybody and have a conversation with anybody and find something that we have in common to latch on to, so that we can, you know what I mean, in a way realize that we're not that much different to one another in some ways. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody's different, obviously, but at the same time, I don't think there's a human being on this planet that another human being wouldn't be able to at least find one common thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even if it's something small, there's always something. And if you can find that something, then in theory, you should be able to just about get along with anybody, unless it's somebody that has, you know, maybe somebody that has a mental disorder and they just, you know what I mean? Like
even then
it's possible. Yeah. But yeah, I'm the same way.
It's just, I find that stuff fascinating. Is the things that, you know, that it's like the mental baggage that we bring along with us through life.
Yeah.
I mean, I could really go deep into this stuff because I love this stuff. Love it. But it's weird how everybody brings their own baggage.
Yes.
And it's really, how much baggage do I want to put on other people? And I feel like in a lot of ways, there's a group of, I mean, maybe it's an age thing, but they really want everybody to deal with their baggage.
Yeah.
And they want to inflict their baggage on others. And I feel like there's a lot of complaining out there, and I'm not going to get into specifics or anything like that, but there's a lot of complaining, and it's like, you know what? I kind of feel like if that's all you got, you got it pretty good. And I just feel like we need to know that, and it's just one of those things, man. It's like, I love the fact that everybody has a voice, but there's a certain point where you go, you know, come on, man. Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm talking in all these generalities and I can't really get out what I want to say, but
I know exactly what you're saying.
I just feel like, I don't know. I just want people to let's all sit down and have a drink, or you know, let's go. I mean, come on. How many times Or how many bad conversations can you have over barbecue?
Right.
Come
That's
on,
true.
man. Let's
That's
just
true.
chill out and realize that we all kind of want the same things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all
Right.
want to be loved. We all want a place to live in that we can be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Let's allow everybody to have that,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the other stuff is just minor. Like I'm not big into blondes. I don't like blonde girls.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was never into blonde girls.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that there's something wrong with me? No. It just means that
Right.
we have a different preference about that.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Okay. I need to stop and get off of that.
Hold my beer and watch this.
Huh?
Eagle Ford.
What do you say? Hold my beer and watch. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that for me, it's just like everybody's different, but we,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of similarities. We have a lot more similarities than we allow ourselves to
Right.
talk about.
Yep. You're right. I mean, look, we all have a brain, right? We all have blood. We all have the same organs. And we all, everybody's brain can get sick, right? Everybody's brain can have issues. So I'm kind of changing the subject a little bit, but like
It's okay.
in terms of like mental health, let's say, right? Mental health obviously needs to be something that is taken a hell of a lot more seriously than it is. And
Absolutely.
it seems like over the years it's starting to be taken more and more seriously because,
Yeah.
dude, there's not a person on this planet that doesn't have at least some kind of mental health issue. I mean, we have a brain. Of course we're going to have problems when we have all these chemicals and synapses and nerves in our brain. Shit's going to go wrong. It's just part of the process of being human. It shouldn't be looked at. It should be taken more seriously. And the only reason that I'm bringing that up is because that plays into a lot of the stuff that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Is different mental health issues. I mean, it really does. It plays into a lot of it.
Well, I
So
just
sorry.
think I think here's how we can at least come to a consensus is we need to have grace for other people,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
we need to realize that sometimes people have bad days and they say bad
Mm-hmm.
things,
Mm-hmm.
and there needs to be a path to redemption. Now, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying well, you know what, I like to chop people's heads off. You gonna accept me in your little group? No,
Right.
okay. We
Right.
got to draw a line, but
Some
I
people
feel
can't
like
be
the line
redeemed.
has been like over there. He said
Mm-hmm.
something mean about my dad. Well,
Mm-hmm.
let's kill him. No,
Right.
let's just. So
Right.
anyway, let's just everybody calm down. Have yourself a fruit cup, and let's just calm down and be friends. We can all
Mm-hmm.
be friends.
You know what I think is very ironic?
Hmm.
I was thinking about this the other day. So, the internet and social media has brought the world together like it's never been brought together before. The world is connected in a way that it's never been connected before in the history of human civilization. But on the flip side, it's also torn in people individually apart. So it's like it's brought the world together, but on an individual level, it started to kind of tear people apart. I find that to be very ironic.
Well, it's definitely. What if a fruit cup killed my parents?
Oh, Jim.
Well, he's not Joe Chill. Okay? So, no, I'll just say this. It's like, to me, it's like what you just said is one of those really, really interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
The beautiful thing about the internet is bringing people together, people
Right.
that have never been brought together before.
Right.
But are all those people going to get along?
Right.
Probably not.
Definitely.
There's
not.
going to be differences in opinion. There's going to be differences
Mm-hmm.
in everything. There's all kinds of differences. But I actually made a mention about that where it was like, there's so many ways that we can divide ourselves from others.
Yes.
Like I talked about, and I won't go all the way into it, but it was talking about how, your football rival in high school.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years later, you're having a beer with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys versus whoever,
Right.
the Eagles. And then further than that, then the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the U.S. versus. It's like why are there so many these levels of separation? That's simplifying a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that stuff. But there's so many ways that we can. Well, I like PS5. Well, I like Microsoft.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm an Android user. It's like who
Mm-hmm.
stop. We like phones.
Mm-hmm.
We like having things that do things for us.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be the thing?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with liking a particular something and being very passionate about a particular something and not passionate about the other opposing thing.
Yeah.
Where I have a problem is when people that like a particular something bash on people that like the other thing. Like
Right.
people that are huge Xbox fans and they bash on PS4 fans or Nintendo fans. That's what I don't like to see. You should never bash on somebody because they like the other side of things. But unfortunately, that's just the way people are, especially in politics. Good Lord, I don't even want to get into that though.
Yeah. But it's like I said, it's infected everything. I mean, talk about the infection that we're dealing with right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's even division there.
There is.
But
Absolutely.
it's like if you really think about it, we're trying to handle this other pandemic going on, and that is
Mm-hmm.
we can't ever agree on anything.
Right.
The media lies to us
Yep.
for their own agenda, whatever
Yep.
agenda that may be. They don't tell the whole story. Then it's all of it. It's all connected, and it's
all
this
about
way
money,
of.
man.
I feel like there's some plot that says let's instill this division, this idea of division in everything,
Oh,
so
dude,
that you're
there absolutely
constantly
is.
on edge. Oh my gosh, the whatevers. And then it's funny that you said something earlier that kind of made me think you were talking about religion for a second.
Mm-hmm.
But you were talking about Microsoft and Sony. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, gosh, isn't that kind of the lessons that religion's supposed to teach you is, love thy neighbor and all that kind of,
Mm-hmm.
we miss that. I'm not a
Supposed to.
religious person, but I know
Me either.
that.
Right.
But anyway,
Did you see what Jim said?
what did he say? I'm not a big conspiracy guy, but honestly, corporations and governments thrive on being able to categorize people, makes it easier to market and pander to.
He's
Yes.
right. He's right.
And yeah, everybody's in their own little bucket,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. I find that stuff fascinating, but
I do too.
it's one of those things where you got to be really careful how you approach it.
Right. Right.
Luckily, I think we've done a pretty good job of that.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah, yeah. But hey,
It's
I mean, I'll probably take the heat if there's anything, but I
there
don't
won't
think
be
we
any
said
heat.
anything bad. I mean, come on.
No, we're just having an honest, trying to have an intelligent conversation about stuff, and
It's funny. There was something about I was gonna say on Twitter, like, oh yeah, like respond to somebody that was having one of those discussions, and then say something. Well, you know what? I hate bread. And then I was thinking, wait a minute, the gluten-free people are gonna come after me. There's
Yep.
always a group.
There's
that's
always,
you gotta,
dude.
I don't know.
Yeah, always.
But
man.
anyway, I think we've gone for 2.5 hours here, man.
It doesn't feel like it.
That's what I love about a good conversation. Is a good conversation, period. So,
You're right.
So that's
Yeah,
how
and-
I love this kind of stuff. I just
And look,
do.
me and you, we always have good conversations.
Oh
man.
yeah, for sure. Well, before we head out, is there anything that you anything else you want to plug or anything, or do you want to just?
Yeah, sure. I've got some really good stuff coming up. Let me just open my video schedule real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
Because it all kind of runs together. You know what I mean?
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just say, hey, again, I want to say thank you guys for watching. It's always fun. It's always a good time when you guys are hanging out and hopefully enjoying the conversation. I mean, that's what the show, especially these shows. That's what these shows are about. Is just I don't know. It's fun. It's fun to have these conversations and just kind of open up a little bit. It's fun.
Absolutely, man. I totally agree. But yeah, I've got some pretty interesting things coming up over the next couple of weeks. Monday I have a new episode of GameCube Gallery, but what's interesting about this episode of GameCube Gallery is it's the first time on the channel that I've ever played a different character. So there's going to be a character that I play in this video that's a mad scientist, and I've never done this before. I'm going completely out of my comfort zone here, and it'll be interesting to see how people respond to it. Fair warning, it's very cringy, but I think that it's at least entertaining, and I hope people will get a laugh out of it. And then coming up the week, so not this coming week, but the week after that, I've got a new game room tour. Finally, it's been like a year because of the virus. It's been a long time since I've been able to do a game room tour. This guy has an amazing game room. You're not going to want to miss that. And then I do an interview with him. And then the Mama Retro Halloween special, of course, we're going to be filming that next Sunday. So that should be interesting. Going to film a Halloween special. She's going to be playing Nightmare on, she's going to be playing Friday the 13th on the NES and one of the Splatterhouse games.
Oh, that ought to be interesting. And like, it's in the chat right now. You can head over and subscribe to RetroWolf if you want and check those out. I mean, I think those sound awesome. Could be a lot of fun.
I hope so.
But yeah, man, I guess that's it. I mean, I really appreciate you coming on and hanging out. And of course, I mean, you're welcome here anytime. And we had a great conversation, even if we want to break down whatever,
Yeah.
Be fun.
Yeah, it's been great, dude. Yeah, anytime you want me on a show, just holler at me. And I want to get you back on mine too.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
I'm like 2 months ahead on my shows right now because not to go off on a tangent because I know we're trying to close it out.
No, it's okay.
Because I thought that New York trip was going to happen in November, I've been busting my ass to get 4 weeks ahead on YouTube videos. So I've got YouTube videos done that are not coming out for like 2 months right now. So,
but that's awesome though. I mean, that's
it's nice.
And now you can, maybe focus on, I'm going to work on this aspect of my whatever, content is king, guys.
I've been playing Death Stranding on PS4. That's kind of what I've been doing.
Oh yeah. Hey, and that's a cool, I mean, talk about a controversial game, but
I love it.
I like it. Yeah. I think it's awesome.
It is.
But guys, thank you again for watching. Matt, thank you for being on again. It was so much fun. I guess we'll see you. See, today's Saturday, so Tuesday we're just gonna we're gonna do a gaming stream on Tuesday. I'm not exactly sure what it's gonna be, but it should be a good time. So thank you again, guys, for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'd really like to know what you think, so please leave your comments below on what we talked about. And of course, consider hitting that subscribe button and give it a like if you enjoyed it. It really does help, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.